Yay! It's my fantasy football show. You should watch it. Hi, and welcome to the FTFL weekly update, the longest running weekly episodic fantasy football update show. Woohoo! I'm your host, I'm Brett Sieber. Welcome back. This is season 8, and I'm already too far into this show to quit, so here's to another great season. Well, as I said, welcome back. Yep, we're going to do this again. As you can see, it's not been an ideal off season. I'm missing a lot of, the jewelry, the swagger, just the overall moxie that last year had. I'm sure I'll find it. It's probably somewhere in the bottom of this bag of cheese puffs or one of these cans somewhere here. Of course, we do have a new champ, Eric. He looked great this week, didn't he? Really knocked it out of the park. By the way, Eric, Andy won the title, missed the playoffs. Jeff won the title, missed the playoffs. I won the title, missed the playoffs. Cheers, buddy. Eric, hold on, though. It's not as bad as it seemed. I did go back and did a little history. We'll find out where your week 1 title defense performance puts you on the list. Whatever your defense or defense is in this situation is probably not as good as, Swart's defense. And really, how important is a good defense? I know I gave him a hard time for drafting 2 defenses. Both of his defenses this week scored touchdowns. I'm more apt to just stream a defense, but maybe that's why I'm here and, not celebrating still with my title. This week we saw a lot of interesting things scoring-wise. It was a low-scoring week. The running backs, there were 14 running backs that had 10-plus points, 20 receivers that had 10-plus points, only 2 tight ends that had 10-plus points, and in a quarterback-heavy league, only 5 that had 20-plus points. I went too fast. Speaking of the tight ends, is Kyle Pitts the most overrated fantasy football prospect of all time? I know this is year 3, but wasn't he supposed to light the world on fire? You know what? Here's to you, Kyle. May all of your dreams land somewhere in the middle. I don't know. Cole Kmet, we could probably talk about. I got you, Cole. I'm the only one, brother. I'm the only one. And before we get into the games, we've barely gotten started, and already we're having problems with the site, the computer. What's going on, Eric? What's going on? No one can submit a claim. Swart's picking up free agents on his own. No one can pick up. Markster damn near didn't have a kicker on his team. What is going on? Your team on the field isn't really showing the effort that you're putting. So I don't know. But please, for all of the folks like Saltmarsh and Swart who lose sleep over this, fix it. Fix it. All right, Eric, on now to the product on the field. The Pack Attack coming in, of course, at 0-0 versus the Mixing Cocktails. In this one, between the two of them, they barely scraped by with 100 points combined. A little more than that. I can do the math. Thanks. If Number Muncher, if you're out there, I got a message for you. Actually, it was in my drawer of things of the bin of I don't give a crap. That's for you, Number Muncher. Mixing Cocktails, 75.5 to Eric's 48.5. Austin Eckler acquired for a second-round pick because, we were just giving running backs away, weren't we, Sid? Tony Pollard, 17. Justin, I Can't Throw Fields, 12 points. And Zach Wilson last night in just a wildly bizarre Monday Night Football game, 10.5 from Dallas Goedert, 1 target, 0 points. Didn't matter. If you're Eric, Josh Allen. This is year 5, Josh Allen, and last night looked like year 2, Josh Allen. 4 turnovers. Scraped together 12 points. Really just awful. Metcalf, 9.5. Had a touchdown early, and then Seattle's defense went much like my, season last year in the tank. Derrick Henry, 7 points. 6 players under 5. I'll drink to that. Well, Eric, you lost. You're 0-1. Andy moved to 1-0. Next up, make Cramerica great again. Hopefully never at 0-0. versus the southbound pachyderms. The pigs, the rhinos, the elephants, you name it. They got them all on the ship. And not only that, they had themselves one hell of a comeback. My goodness gracious. You know what? I'll take time to acknowledge that. Well done. The Dallas defense, 36 points. Now, that is not the highest total defense point total of all time. No. That's only good enough for 7th. That's right. Your sucky Dallas defense only was 7th highest on the list. However, Swarto did go in down huge, pretty much all but dead in the waters. Somehow rose from the ashes. Jake Elliott, 18 points. That's right. His top 2 scorers were a defense and a kicker combining for 54 points. That alone would have beat Eric's team. That would have beat it. No, that's awesome. No, man, that's awesome. Joe Burrow. I don't know where Joe Burrow was. He signed that big deal. Must have been out late, like consecutive nights. Maybe rolled into the stadium with the limousine full of women and booze. I don't know. He was awful. In the end, it didn't matter. That guy's a stone cold stud. Not a dud, even with the 0 points. If you're Sid, boy, Tyreek Hill, you wasted that week. 35.5 points for him. My God, that guy must be the most uncoverable man in all of the NFL. Justin Jefferson, 14.5. New Orleans defense, 14. David Montgomery looking good for the Lions on Thursday night with 10. Lamar, 4 points. Isaiah, not likely to win you a fantasy title. Half point. You picked him up for Andrews. I guess you felt the need to do that. You spent $1. You still got beat. Oh, well. You fell to 0-1. The Pachyderms, the Pigs, moved to 1-0. Next up, the Valhalla Vandals. Coming in at 0-0. Taking on... Jeez, just wipe that on my shirt. The Hulkamaniacs, both teams coming in with 0 wins and 0 losses. That's right, undefeated, baby. That didn't last long. I go down 83.5 to Peter's 108. If you're Peter, Brandon, who you stole right in front of me during the draft, you asshat. Ayuk, 24 points. 21.5 points for Run CMC. That's right. I got just murdered by the Niners this week. The Jets defense, Patrick Mahomes, both threw in 18. 4th lowest point totals last year for I can't even talk and I really don't care. Peter scored the first... You know what? Instead of talking and doing the show, I'm just going to sit quietly, eat cheese doodles, and drink my grain belt. It's pretty good. Delicious. All right, fine. I'll try it one more time. Just because I know some of you are watching. Not many, but some. He had the 4th lowest amount of points last year in the season. He only scored 2 100-point games. He's the only person over 100 points this week. If you're me, Aaron, give the man the ball every time. Jones, 25 points. Trevor Lawrence, 16. Amon-Ra, St. Brown's, 13. T. Higgins, 8 targets, 0 catches, 0 points. Thanks a lot, you bum. Not the greatest week to start off with. I fall to 0-1. Now, I mentioned earlier, Eric's 46 and whatever and a half points, 48.5 points from this week. Pretty pitiful title defense. So I thought, you know what? What have the teams in the past done with all of their, title defense opening weeks? Everyone's excited. We're all undefeated. Woo! Look at us go! And then is how it normally ends up. I won't just talk about those. I actually will start with the top 5 title defense outputs. Here we go. In backwards from bottom to top most points. Number 5, best performance, 92.5 points from Jeff, coming off to defending his title. Now, I didn't write the years of the defending the title. Maybe I should. In the end, it really doesn't matter. Joe put up 101, defending his title in week 1. Andy, 105, coming in at number 3. We're going to call that one 2.5. Right there between 2 and 3. Sid coming in at number 2 at 127. And the best performance coming off a title win in that week 1 defense was Ryan and his saggy, awful, gross, hasn't won a fantasy football game in 3 years, saggy titties and balls. 134.5. And who did he score those points against? Who did he lay that smackdown on? Oh, I'll give you 3 guesses, but you're only going to need 1. That's right, this guy. Because if anything bad is ever going to happen in fantasy football, it's going to happen to me. every damn time. All right, the bottom 5 teams. Now, Eric, I said you didn't really, it was bad, but it wasn't as bad as it's been. Coming in at number 5, 5th worst performance in defending the title, Swart and Sid tied with 59 points. Number 4, Eric, that's you, 48.5. That's right. 3 teams had more of a piss-poor effort than yours when they opened their season in their title defense. Number 3, Salty at 38 points. Woo! Jeff coming in at 35 points. And then, oh, by the way, Jeff again in the lowest point total, not even in a title defense, one of the lowest point totals we've ever seen in the league, 26 points. So Eric, it's not all bad news. Don't feel that bad. Keep your chin up, son. And maybe you too someday could be sitting in a trailer all by yourself, eating cheese doodles, drinking beer, and lamenting how terrible you are at fantasy football. Gotta have goals, young man. Gotta have goals. All right, back to the games. Radioactive Monkey 0-0 taking on Mana. 4-time Lucky Pants breaking and entering title thieving champ Mana. That's right. I still got it. The Monkeys on a last end of regulation 5-point field goal by Tyler Bass. Take down the Stuffed Socks. 83-79.5. If you're Saltmarsh, Stephon Diggs picking up points down the stretch to stick it to Markser. Diggs had 17. Tyler Bass had 13. Devontae Smith 11.5. Jalen Hurts 10. He averaged 23 points a game last year. 10 points, and you escaped without harm. J.K. Dobbins 9, and again done for the season. A broken record. That dude seems super talented, but is the epitome of. Cue the footage. Sorry, not the footage. Cue the sounder. Wet paper sack alert! Yeah, a wet paper sack. Sorry, Dobbins, that's you. If you're Marks or San Fran's defense, 16. San Fran can suck an egg as far as I see it. Travis Etienne, 14.5. Dicker the kicker, 12 points. Nick Chubb only mustered 10. Not bad for, I guess, a Chubb but, 12 or 14 really would have probably knocked it out of the park and actually got Marks for the win, too. Dak, 2 points. Woo-wee! Talk about dud of the week contenders. There's one. And Kyle Pitts, I mentioned it earlier. Dude, he averaged last year 3.6 points. The year before that, he averaged 5.8 points. This dude has been hyped since day one, and he has done nothing. I think it's time to move on from Kyle Pitts because he is the Pitts. And speaking of the Pitts, we're almost done with the show for tonight. One more game, then we're going to put a bow on this re-gifted present. Architect 0-0 coming in, taking on Dickweed at 0-0. That's right, Dickweed. Didn't see him at the draft. We assume he drafted his team. Maybe he's running his team. No one really knows. Dickweed, where are you? Anyways, Architect Matt, well done. Bravo. A real clap. Nice job, Matt. 91.5 points. Comes out the gate strong to John, 62.5. If you're Matt, Tua, oh my gosh, stay on the field, please. Tunga Vailoa, 30 points for him. Calvin Ridley, welcome back. We've seen more of Calvin Ridley than we see of John over the last 3 seasons. Let that sink in. That was the part where hopefully you were laughing and enjoying that comment. Bijan in his debut, 13 points for him. Green Bay's defense, I'm telling you, do not sleep on the Packers defense. They have a feisty bunch. 13 for them. If you're John, Justin Herbert, 16. Olave and Butker both chipped in 10. Darnell, I'm the backup tight end for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Washington. That's right, he plays behind Freiermuth. Yet, John drafted him before Freiermuth and then played him, and lo and behold, he had 0 targets, scored 0 points. Call that the shocker of the day. By the way, according to someone's chart, Darnell Washington was the 45th ranked tight end. Not 45th ranked player, not 45th ranked person that catches a ball, 45th ranked tight end. I had Eric down here for the cringy, but John drafting, I'm writing it down right now, Darnell Washington ahead of Freiermuth. That might be our front runner, boys and girls. All right, let's get the stud, the dud, and the cringy. I just spilled the beans on the cringy. Stud of the week, Dallas, 36 points. Tyreek Hill, 35.5. It is his third 30-plus point total in the last 3 years. Tyreek Hill, the guy is just nightmare fuel. nightmare fuel for defensive coordinators all around the league. Dud of the week, Dak Prescott, 2 points. He averaged 17.8 last year, 19.3 the year before. He does that. Either of those split the difference, whatever, even minus 10 from that, and Jeff still wins. He didn't. T. Higgins, we covered that, 0 points. Cringy Eric starting out slow, but really, we found out not the worst debut performance to defend a title. And then John for drafting Darnell Washington, the 45th ranked tight end. My good God. All right, week 2 coming up on tap. All the teams that won playing all the teams that lost. We don't have any undefeated teams playing. We don't have any completely defeated teams playing. So this will be interesting to see how this goes. Valhalla taking on the Dickweed, 1-0, 2-0-1. The Pachyderms, the Pigs, the Flying Pigs taking on the Hulkamaniacs at 0-1. 1-0 Architect taking on Make America Great at 1-0-1. 1-0 Monkeys taking on the 0-1 Pack Attack. And the 1-0 Mixing Cocktails taking on the 0-1 Manav 4-time Lucky Pants. Breaking and entering, thieving and stealing, not just my title, but my hopes, my dreams, my everything. Champ Manav coming in at 0-1. I guess before I sign off, I'd be remiss if I didn't at least mention it. Hey, Aaron. Get well soon, buddy. You know what? Maybe I'll come back and do this again next week. This was fun. Until then.